morning friends, my name is Max. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, and welcome to Vlogmas day 17. Wow, that means it's only 8 days till Christmas. It is Sunday today and I am so excited because I love the Sunday morning cozy vibes. So I'm gonna go downstairs and get some breakfast and my first coffee of the day, and we're gonna cozy back up in bed and read Impossible Creatures by Katherine Rundell. I'm wearing my colourful cozy jumper and some cozy joggers. Let's get into it. So I'm having a very weird breakfast combination. I already ate a banana when I was downstairs getting all of these things ready and making my coffee and stuff, but I also have 2 little homemade sausage rolls and a piece of banana bread. This is my strange concoction of a breakfast this morning. And of course, my coffee. Cheers! If you haven't already, please feel free to pause this video, grab yourself a cozy cup of tea or coffee or hot chocolate and join me for some cozy reading time. Thank you for that lovely read with me session. I thought I would give you a little update of how I'm doing with Impossible Creatures. I'm now on page 151. It is so joyous and easy to read. It's one of those books where you just forget that you're reading and it just seems like it's flying by because the world is so immersive. I'm at a point now where there's a little cast of misfit characters and they're all so enjoyable and easy to like. There's almost like a found family element to it, and it really reminds me of the style of Philip Pullman's writing. It reminds me of my experience and how I felt reading Philip Pullman's The Book of Dust Volume 1. I still haven't read The Book of Dust Volume 2. I'd love to get to that at some point. But yeah, it's so adventurous and it just feels like each little chapter, because the chapters of this book are quite small, each little chapter another adventurous thing happens and you meet more creatures in this world and you're exposed to more settings in this world. It's really beautiful actually. The inside covers in the front and back have this incredible map of the islands and the world that this book is based on. And then at the beginning, I have to show you this because it's so cool. The book begins with the Guardian's bestiary, and it's basically just a little informational booklet that the book starts with of a bunch of the different mythical but real in this world creatures that they come across during the book. It's really immersive and enjoyable, and I would say it's not as high stakes as some other fantasy books can be. It's kind of high stakes, but it's not too intense. It's still really enjoyable and in like a cozy type of way. I would totally recommend if you like some adventurous fantasy. This is classed as a children's book, I think, but it's so glorious and would definitely recommend it to any adults who are interested in fantasy or who enjoy that type of stuff.
Meanwhile.
So I just felt to chat a bit with you all because I'm feeling quite overwhelmed today, and I feel like that might be quite a common experience around this time of year. So I wanted to share because when I make videos and stuff, I never want it to be an altered version of what my reality actually looks like, because one of the reasons why I really want to share on here is to bring more knowledge and understanding and awareness to what it's like to live as an autistic ADHDer, but also what that can look like in somebody's daily life, because there's so much misunderstanding and I can't remember what the word is that you use to describe, just like beliefs around those things that are actually just incorrect. So I feel like some of what I'm gonna talk about right now is some backstory about myself and my life and stuff, so feel free to pause the video here and grab yourself a cuppa. So as an autistic person, I have very rarely in the almost 30 years of my existence been able to hold down a job or been able to start and finish any kind of a long-term project. And that is just a result of my neurology and how it affects me. There have been a lot of things that I have been able to do, don't get me wrong, but the world of work has just not been one of them for me. It has been a struggle to participate in adult life for me ever since leaving university. And I really feel like that structure and routine of the academic environment served me so well and I thrived in it. And then coming out of that and into less structured routines, more individual responsibilities to manage, more choice and decision making to take part in. The whole academic environment, it's all done for you unless you're like at master's PhD level where it's all self-directed. All throughout school, A-levels, degree, it's all structured for you. You just have to be there, do the thing and try your best. But in the adult world, it's like you're the one to make all of these decisions, manage all of these different parts of your life, coordinate everything, deal with people and systems and communicating and government and living in that way as an adult in the current system of Western society is incredibly difficult for me. And I know, like in my Vlogmas videos, it's all mostly positive and you see me moving about my day as if I can do things and I am doing things, and obviously maybe some people think I'm doing a lot less than they would be able to, and that's accurate, that's an accurate observation. I'm not actually able to do that much, but it probably looks like in my videos I can do things. But the reason why it looks like that is because I am A, doing things that I know I can manage, and B, I am in an environment at the moment where, because I went through a significant breakup earlier this year, and I went into autistic burnout at the beginning of autumn, I am back living with my parents, which has its own struggles in and of itself, because I feel like there's so much judgment and expectation in society that as a 30-year-old person I should be in the world of work, building a career, have my own place, either have bought my own place or be a renting person. And I can't do any of those things right now. Maybe in my future circumstances might change and things might make it so that I am more able to participate in certain things, but right now those things are impossible for me. I don't want to get emotional, but I really wanted to be open and share about my actual current reality, rather than every Vlogmas episode just being, oh yay, we're doing nice activities, or we're doing Christmassy things, or I'm going out and about and it's nice. And it is that. It is all of those things. But I was reflecting earlier about the fact that I think I am doing quite a bit of masking in my videos sometimes. Pardon me. And I want to try to do that less, because I want this space to be an accurate representation of life for me. Because I really appreciate when I've seen others online share and it's helped me, because they've shared their authenticity. So I'm feeling quite overwhelmed today, and it's been building over the last few days. I realised yesterday, because I'm aware that yes, I'm back living with my parents, but this is not secure housing for me, because they, as I've explained in a previous Vlogmas episode, are going to be moving to France full time, which means that in the next 6 months or so, maybe even less than that, I am going to have to find somewhere else to live, some way to be able to pay for somewhere else to live. And at the moment I'm unsure about where that's going to be. I'm not necessarily attached in any way, apart from having a couple of friends in the area, to staying in this area where I am with my parents right now. There are places in England where I would much rather be, but when I think about the possibility of moving somewhere else in the country, it just feels so overwhelming, even though maybe I would rather be in those places. And I think part of the difficulty for me is that I don't know when this is going to happen. It could happen in the spring, it could happen in the summer, it could happen as far away as autumn of 2024. I really don't know, and so that's a part of it that I cannot control, but that's so stressful and overwhelming to me. I definitely find my autistic brain struggles more with not knowing when something's going to happen, or not knowing how something's going to happen. My nervous system loves knowing what's going on, even to the point where I find myself asking every evening, every single evening, I ask my parents what they're doing the next day, because there's a sense of nervous system relief for me to knowing who's going to be in and out of the house, at what times of day, when that's going to be happening, and then I can ready myself and my nervous system for those things happening, and avoid experiencing overwhelm by unexpected things happening. So the fact that I don't know when I'm going to have to move and find somewhere to live is really overwhelming to me. I wasn't expecting that I would cry filming this clip. Also, another thing that's really on my mind, which is a bit dichotomous because I'm anxious about it, but I'm also really excited about it, is driving. I have found the process of trying to get my driving sorted to be so overwhelming. I passed my theory test in October, which I'm so relieved about, I'm so grateful to my past self for pursuing that and for getting it done and for working hard on it and for passing it first time. And I really want to get my practical done. I really want to have more lessons, learn how to pass the test and then pass the test, because nowadays there really is a lot of stuff that's additional things that isn't just needing to know how to drive in order to pass the test. As in, like, the specific things that they'll ask you to do and that they'll ask you about and that you'll need to avoid or that you'll need to remember to do and stuff like that, that is specific to passing the test and not necessarily just knowing how to drive. So that is very much on my mind, and knowing that my parents are going to be moving out of the country in the next 6 months or so, it feels like I'm putting more pressure on myself to do it before then, because while they're here I will probably be able to go out driving with them to be able to have extra practice and stuff like that. Whereas if I try to do it when they're not in the country anymore, I'm not gonna have that extra ability to practice in somebody else's car. So it feels like there's a time pressure on that as well. And I know that I could choose, if I really needed to do it another time, but really it would be easier while I have the opportunity to practice more. So basically, my autistic brain finds most things to do with functioning in adult life in current Western society and structure and systems really, really, really challenging. And there's multiple things at the moment in my life that I'm having to do that involve that stuff. So it's like I'm going through this period of time in my Saturn return, surprise, surprise, which is basically, if you don't know, astrologically, they talk about the Saturn return being when you really have to face adulthood. And the Saturn return is for everyone between the ages of 29 to 31. I think it's 28 to 30 actually. Yeah. And you have a Saturn return every 28 to 30 years. So you have one multiple times in your life, but your first one astrologically is talked about as being when you really become an adult rather than it being 21. So it's kind of ironic that all this stuff is happening this year. And honestly, when I reflect, I think it has actually been one of the hardest times in my life this year. It really has. There's just so much of it that my brain feels like it just can't do. It's so incredibly challenging for me. There's just so much of the systems of society that are just so inaccessible to me. I was on Instagram this morning and I watched a reel where this person is studying, they're autistic and they're studying sociology and social work and stuff, and they used this analogy where they talked about accommodations and accessibility. And it's like, they said neurotypical people are starting here at this point and autistic individuals are starting here at this point. So it's like, in order for me to do a bunch of the adult life things that adult people do all the time is like climbing a mountain for me. And I'm facing a few of those mountains at the moment. It's incredibly overwhelming. I'm so tired again now, just trying to process all of this and trying to get my brain into gear to talk about it in words. You may not necessarily think it watching my videos, but I really, really struggle sometimes with receptive and expressive language processing, which means when I'm hearing language being spoken to me, processing that, but also when I need to express it outwardly myself, trying to process that. So it's really, really hard for me to find the words in my brain to express something sometimes. It takes a lot of energy, so I'm tired now. But I'm glad I talked about this because I think there's probably a lot of people out there who are experiencing similar struggles. Even if you're not autistic, I'm sure there's loads of people who are experiencing housing difficulties. Well, I know there is. That's just the state of the world currently. And I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to be able to move back in with my parents, because there are so many people in the world who don't have that option. And I don't have any solutions about this. I don't have any tips. I just try my best to get through it and to do the things that I need to do to look after myself and to address things as healthily as possible, and when I have the capacity to, and keep living my life as joyfully as I can, and to trust myself, to know that I will get through it and that I will be able to do it and that things will work themselves out, and to trust the universe, to know that I am supported and I will find somewhere to live and I will be able to afford it and things will be okay. I definitely find that one of my biggest coping mechanisms is being really positive about everything. Or not even being really positive about anything, but just not allowing myself enough to dwell on the things that are challenging or the things that are upsetting me or overwhelming me. I just don't let myself think about it enough, because I want so much to be in a good place and to be living from a positive place and a positive mindset, and that really helps me to an extent, but it also means that I don't often fully process how hard I'm finding things, if I'm finding things hard, and then it just completely overwhelms me at some random point and I have a meltdown. So this is me just trying to acknowledge that things are really challenging right now in terms of external life stuff that I can't really control very much, and we're going into Christmas and I'm traveling for Christmas and it's a lot of change. It's so much change for me as an autistic person. This whole year has been so much change for me, and I'm not crying because I'm upset about that. I'm crying because it's really overwhelming. It's almost like I'm in a period of time in my life where I'm in this limbo state, living back with my parents and trying to recover from autistic burnout, and having gone through a breakup and not knowing where I'm going to live and not knowing what's going to happen, and I'm not very settled at all, and that's just such an intense challenge for my autistic and ADHD brain. So I wanted to be real with you about all of those things, and we're just gonna have a cozy, self-compassionate rest of the day. It's interesting because I'm actually feeling not that bad at all today. I'm actually feeling like I've enjoyed my day so far. I've enjoyed having my slow reading morning, and I'm going to really enjoy this afternoon, I already know. But this overwhelm about these topics has just been building over the last few days, and you know what, I think it's because the closer Christmas becomes, Alexa has just randomly started playing Christmas music in the kitchen. What the heck? Alexa, stop. She honestly has a mind of her own sometimes. Yeah, I just feel like the closer it comes to Christmas, my subconscious mind is like, it's getting closer and closer to the new year. And I think, especially with the driving, I had put this kind of external expectation on myself that when it comes to the new year, when I get back from France, that is when I will start driving again, start looking at rentals and dipping my toes into figuring out how I'm gonna navigate this next chapter of my life, and making a start on that and delving into those things just feels incredibly overwhelming to me at the moment. And I know that my autistic brain has a tendency to, and my ADHD self actually, has a tendency to overestimate how challenging I'm gonna find something, or how much energy it's gonna take me, or how much time it's gonna take me, or how difficult it's gonna be, and then I get more overwhelmed than I need to. So my mental mindset action plan is just gonna be to hold space for the fact that all of these things might be 100% easier than I expect them to be. All of these things might be so much easier than I expect them to be. I might find it so much easier to learn to drive and pass my test than I expect to. I might find it so much easier to find a place to live because the universe supports me. I might find it so much easier to make decisions about where I want to live. I might find exactly the right landlords or land people. Why do we still call them landlords in this day and age? I'm gonna call them land people. I might find exactly the right land people who actually want me to rent their space. I'm just gonna hold space for that. So I'm just waiting for some leftovers from last night's dinner to heat up. I'm having some leftover tofu pasta. It's whole wheat fusilli pasta, if that's how you pronounce that, fusilli. Fried little cubes of tofu that I cooked in soy sauce and sweet chili sauce, which is one of my best cooks of tofu, I must say, that I've ever done. I cooked it really slowly and just kept turning the little cubes, and they just soaked up the soy sauce and sweet chili so well and got like singed around the outside. So good. Anyway, it also has, it's ready. It also has pepper, mushrooms, tomatoes and onion in, and I'm going to drizzle some tahini sauce over the top, which I make with tahini, soy sauce and a little bit of water. So that's what I'm having to eat, but I'm going to choose a Christmas movie to put on to watch while I have my lunch, and then I'm going to get some art supplies together and do some painting. So let's pick a Christmas movie together. So I've just gone into Netflix and I'm going to click on the featured holidays collection. I haven't seen that on Netflix before. I'm not often on Netflix at the moment because I recently started a Disney Plus account, so I'm not on Netflix as much as I used to be. I've seen the Christmas Chronicles and I really liked it. I think I've seen the second one too, but I'm not super in the mood for this one. Maybe The Holiday could be a good option. I'm not feeling The Grinch. What's Family Switch? 13 going on 30, and Yesterday star Jennifer Garner switches things up again in this festive body swap comedy with Ed Helms, Emma Myers and Brady Noon. So it sounds like a Christmas version of, what is that movie called? Oh my god, Lindsay Lohan. Oh my god, I'm having an absolute brain fart. Anyway, you know the one I mean. Shout at me in the comments if you know the name of the movie that I'm talking about. I'm sure you do. And this is another new one. Yo Christmas. Oh, it's a series. Maybe. Christmas Chronicles 2 I have seen, I think. And I do like those movies. I'm wondering if there's a third one yet, because that could be cool. Holiday in the Vineyards. While on a secret job for his mother's wine company, a man falls for the widow whose place he's renting. But will the truth spoil their Yuletide romance? There's so many Christmas romance movies that are just so heteronormative, and they're cute and everything, and I don't have anything against that, but I'm just bored of it. I'm just bored of there not being more of a variety of romance movies, books, everything basically. I know there's a few with better representation here and there and more diversity, but it really is just here and there. Another one, I mean, it's just a whole list of them basically. I've never watched the Princess Switch movies. I feel like they could be really funny. Oh, this looks like an animated version of A Christmas Carol. That could be sweet. I do love animated stuff, but I'm not really in the mood. I'm kind of feeling like I watched A Nutcracker and the Four Realms on Disney Plus recently, and it was so good. It was a bit more fantasy, because obviously the Nutcracker is fantasy really, but it was such a good retelling of that story and I loved the world. So maybe it's time for Jingle Jangle, because as I mentioned previously, this is my actual favourite Christmas movie. It is so fantasy, it is a musical, it came out in 2020 and I have watched it every Christmas since. And I think maybe now, today might be the time. Yeah, I think it's definitely Jingle Jangle time. Let's do it. And if you don't know Jingle Jangle or haven't seen it before, highly recommend, by the way. But it says, decades after his trusted apprentice betrayed him, a once joyful toy maker finds new hope when his kind and curious granddaughter comes into his life. It's really lovely. I think it's time for a new story. Hey friends, so I just finished what I want to do on the painting today and I'm going to end off the vlog now, but I thought I'd show you where I'm up to. So this is what we have so far. I'm kind of aiming for like a village Christmas scene. So we've got all the outlines of all the houses and buildings down and the Christmas tree in the middle. So tomorrow I want to do all the details of the buildings and put some people in there and put some people ice skating on this little rink and yeah, just do all of the detail-y bits now that we've got the base down. I like it so far and I'm really happy with how the Christmas tree in the middle looks actually. I think it's going to be really cute, so we'll carry on with that tomorrow. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and click the subscribe button below because it really helps me, and I will see you tomorrow.